and stitch bed. I've just arrived back from my holiday. It was fantastic. The weather was awesome. It was in the mid-20s to high 20s. In my previous vlog, I did a bit of a show and tell of my plans of what I was taking to Australia for that trip. And I know probably some of you are thinking, wow, that's a lot of clothes. And it was too many clothes. I did pare it down. And basically what I ended up taking was I took my 2 Rita dresses, but I only wore one of them. I wore the beautiful palm leaf one. I'll put a picture of that there. I planned to do a daily short, but it just didn't happen, unfortunately. Anyway, so I wore one of those, and then I wore the bell dress that I'd planned to wear for the wedding, so I put a pic of that in there too. So that worked really well. I thought it was going to be too hot for it, but as it turned out, it was actually perfect. And I really felt comfortable wearing it. I can't wait to make another one. I'd like to make more of a casual one in maybe a lightweight cotton, linen, something like that. Anyway, so I've got that in my head that I would like to do. And the funny thing was, I did do a little bit of ready-to-wear shopping. I don't normally, but I just thought, why not? And I did buy a ready-to-wear lightweight chambray dress, and it's just about the same pattern, and it fits perfectly around the midsection for me. If I get a chance, I'll take a pic of it. Otherwise, you sort of get the idea. Looking at the bell dress, imagine that in a chambray. Okay, the other thing that I wore was my Tilly and the Buttons nail dress. I found that just a perfect piece to wear on one of those really hot days over there. It was nice and flowy, didn't cling to me. It was just perfect, so I put a pic of that in there too. The only other piece, I think, well, 2 more pieces that I wore that I'd made myself were the linen striped set. I ended up only wearing the shorts. I didn't need to wear a jacket, and I did think that was going to be the case. I did take the jacket with me, and I looked at it, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpick the princess seam because it's an unlined jacket, and I'm going to take that fullness in there. So that's sort of on my list to do. I did wear the ready to wear cream linen jacket. I did wear that a couple of times, but to be fair, I didn't really need a layering piece. It said on the weather forecast that there was going to be a few patchy bits of rain in that, but it definitely wasn't cold, and we really didn't see too much of that. Anyway, the other piece that I wore was my caprice skirt by Love Notions, and I made that for my capsule wardrobe last year. And to be fair, that capsule wardrobe last year seemed to work a lot better, and I think it was because there was a real intention around mixing and matching and making the whole thing work. So I need to sort of think about that and go back to that concept. I think the big problem I had was I had a few events on this trip, so I was really focused on those rather than my day-to-day wear, and I did end up wearing most of the time just a tee, and I had a denim skirt, and I purchased a pair of ready-to-wear denim shorts over there, so I pretty much just lived in those just when we were just pottering around. So yeah, I think I need to think a little bit better with my planning for next time. Right, the video today is actually about my precious fabric make, and it's what I'm wearing now. This is the Metra Blazer by Love Notions. It has the welt pockets. It's an unlined knit fabric pattern. I've made the shawl collar. I think this one is the size 16. I'll have to check on that. Oh, I'll put it down there what size I actually made. And while I've been talking, I've been putting pics up here, and I'll put a pic of me actually wearing it so you can see the actual genuine length. When I did my Instagram post for the precious fabric, I hadn't actually had a chance to try it on. So you can look at the handle for that down below. I'll put my Instagram handle down there if you want to have a look at that. It just shows the fabric as a whole piece and just starting to cut it out. And then this on the model or the mannequin at the end. So the story about this fabric, why it was precious to me, was that it was one of the last pieces that I purchased. One moment, we've got someone coming up the driveway. That was just my delivery of my gas bottle, sorry about that. Getting back to the story of my fabric, this fabric was one of my last purchases from Fabric Vision in Christchurch, New Zealand. Unfortunately, they closed down. A Spotlight arrived a little bit up the road, and with COVID and everything, I just think it really took its toll. However, this fabric, I'd been eyeing it up for a while and I didn't really know what I was going to make with it. So I was a bit, you know, when you just love a fabric but you think, do I buy it or not? Anyway, when it came to it, I thought, well, this is my last chance. So I purchased a piece and it's been sitting in my stash now for, I don't know how long, probably a couple of years maybe. And this fabric, because it had a bit of a stretch, I thought, what am I going to do with it? And I thought a blazer at the time when I purchased it. I didn't buy that much. And of course, the Metra Blazer is great. It's a pattern that I've made lots of times. So I thought it's not going to be a fail using my precious fabric because I know the pattern really well. I've made it so many times. And so that's what made me choose the fabric and the pattern, and I think it's worked out great. It's kind of, I guess, a bit of a hero piece. I've just paired it with my little cami and my jeans today. However, I think I would wear it over like a denim dress because it's got the blue in it, or just a plain dress would work well. I sort of did a bit of research on Pinterest and what would you put a hero jacket over, and a lot of them were just paired with a white tee and jeans or shorts or something like that. It's not a hugely long jacket, you'll see in the pic, and I think that is great. It gives you a lot of flexibility around what you can pair it with. So I really recommend this pattern. I've made heaps of them. I can't remember how many. It's probably at least 4 or 5 of them. They make up in a jiffy. That is just such a fantastic pattern. I've basically just overlocked it all together. I've done the front facing out of the same fabric. I just had enough to do that. So yeah, really pleased with it. When I was on the Gold Coast, I did manage to get to a fabric store over there called Fabric Frenzy. Unfortunately, this store will be closing down potentially by the end of the year as well. I think they're going to go online. So I had a wee bit of a spend out there, and I'm planning to do a vlog showing you of my fabric haul that I got from there and some potential ideas around some of the pieces. I won't have ideas for all the pieces. I did buy some, I guess, everyday fabric that I could just make up in some basics, and one of them particularly stretch, which is in cream. I find it really hard to get cream fabrics, always white. Anyway, I'll talk to you about that in my next video. The other video that I'm wanting to do coming up is I had a bit of a spare afternoon before I went away, and I thought I don't want to start sewing anything. So I spent the afternoon cutting out a few projects. So I'd like to share those with you, and I guess hopefully get them made up over the next month or so. So I've got that coming up soon. Anyway, it's been a bit of a quick one today. Just wanted to check in, show you my precious fabric make, and I hope you've had a chance to do something in your sewing room, especially with the changing seasons. It's great to do something with slightly different fabric than what you've been using. Have fun until next time. Thanks for watching. Bye now.